Hi, folks. Larry Rolla here. Let's bring my pals on before I hit the wrong button and screw everything up. There's Gregory and Billy. Hi, guys.
I told you he'd be here.
He's
was not worried about you. It's the other guy now, but I've sent him several messages, but he might be out in the wild still. Right? Billy, Larry was asking about the strangles in Ontario. Does that affect you? But is that an AGCO thing? Who handles that?
Yeah, AGCO no MAPA, right? AGCO, they're the ones, they have their vet, like, Adam Chambers is their veterinarian.
Yeah.
So they had, apparently they had four horses that they tested in the beginning, and they were positive. So they had those isolated in the barn. It's a big barn too. There's probably 40 stalls, maybe even 60 stalls in that barn, maybe. And then
where
they got them at Dorchester Training Center.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
And so that's owned by Western Fair now. They bought that last couple of years ago now, I guess, right?
That's the place with the 5/8 mile track and everything.
Yeah. Right on
you can see from the 401.
Right on the south side of the 401.
Yeah. Why did they buy that?
Lots of reasons. I think there's lots of speculation. Put it that way.
Okay. Well, yeah. There you go. Yeah. Duh. Right.
Yeah. So they got those horses out of there and took them to a farm that was vacant. And then some other ones were sick, so they tested those, and all five of them they were tested positive. So they got them out of there to a different place, and now they're just waiting. They haven't heard anything for a few days, so hopefully that's the end of it. And the ones that are affected, they have to test. They test them 3 times, right? They have to have 2 positives. But apparently, what they do, they flush their pouches out with penicillin, because if they don't, they can still test positive for quite a long time, even though they're not contagious. They're still testing positive. So I think when they do that, and then they go back and test them again, and hopefully they're all negative, right? So
it'll take a little bit of time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
A little bit of news for us, Larry. Jean-Michel Bazir, who's won 5 Prix de Mériques. It's Ronnie here. Call me. Maybe you can walk me through signing on. Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, you go right to it. He goes right to it. But anyway, Jean-Michel Bazir, 5 Prix de Mériques. There was an accident at Gros Bois where they have like 15 racetracks, and he went down. And first they thought that he had a fracture of his hand or of his wrist, and now they're talking about a mild stroke. And Billy, you were right when in 2012 he had it, huh?
Yeah, I remember.
What did you think of that? Remember that one?
Well, I got a good memory for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when he had the stroke, and I think, does he have a son that was driving too? Maybe that drove them.
Yeah, Nicholas. Yeah.
But that's something. A young guy for that. I remember thinking, geez, he was only around 40 or something, right, when he had the first one.
Yeah,
I couldn't find it.
Rolla.
I tried to look that up on Google, but I couldn't find it. But a lot of stuff was in French too, so.
I was able to translate quite a bit of it, and I spoke to his second whip, we'll call, at Gros Bois, and she told me that. But they it's one of those things that they don't know what'll happen, huh? So like now, and he said, when I translate, if it doesn't come back, he just won't drive again. Is what he said.
Right.
Said he's 55.
He was driving limited anyway, right?
Yeah.
Since the first one, I think. But
yeah.
Now, does he stable at Gros Bois?
He has. Larry Gros Bois has a castle there, which has a lot of Napoleon artifacts, and it literally has 15, we'll say, paths for exercise, whether it's the the 5/8 mile track, Or is it a mile? I forget now. Billy, you remember?
Oh, a mile. It's at least a mile, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be a mile. And then they have the straightaways and through the woods, and
Oh, yeah.
they have what you'd call a yard. Like he would have a house, and he could walk out the door, and he's right in the in
Yeah.
in the yard where he can see all the horses. They say in the season around 1,000 people live there, huh?
Oh, yeah.
In the season, which is on now, I think until March. They go about every day. Like you would think they would end it at the Prix de Mérique, but they don't. Kind of like the Meadowlands used to. Hamiltonian, that's the last day. Bing, but they don't.
Yeah. Well, when I was there, I think to Pierre Vercuse's yard, I think there was 24 stalls in the yard, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of pretty cool, Larry. It's all, it has a house. And I think there's an apartment up above too. Is there two?
Yeah.
Is it maybe? And you walk in, and off to the left is like their house is on the right, and there's a breezeway that you walk the horses in and out and stuff. And on the left I thought was pretty cool. They had the bath racks there, and they bathe them and take them across the shed row, just across the alley, and put them in a stall with the heated lamps, and it dries them like that. And then they just take and put them back in their stalls. And they'll leave like a bunch.
Big on that. You ever notice they always got blankets on them?
Yeah.
As soon as if they move at all, they got a blanket on them.
And they, with those horses too, like they'll leave. So say you got 24 there, and like you said, your second whip and your trainer, and they'll leave with about 6 or 8 horses, and away they go. God knows where they went, but anyway, they come back about an hour later. So it's not like us jogging, half an hour, 25 minutes or something, right?
Right.
So but that really manners a horse, training them. I think. I mean, we didn't do enough of it. Train them in sets, right? Where they do, there's a limit, I guess, too. But you get 4, 5, 6, in a set, and play leapfrog with them, and those young horses, it keeps them interested, right?
Yeah. I'm still watching for Ron now. I sent him. Let's see here. I sent him a text back, but he goes right to voicemail when you call him.
That's probably because he's on his phone trying to get on.
Well,
likely, yeah.
Me. I'll put my ringer on in case he calls me. I had it off. But no, they have, and they said that like the Napoleon artifacts that are there paid for the whole thing. There he is.
Really?
There he is.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Hello, Ronald. Happy New Year.
Hey, Bill. Thanks. Same to you.
Happy New Year.
Bill.
Happy New Year, Ron.
Glad I made it on here tonight. Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to we got to be able to see you a little better. Sit up.
Move your
Okay, I'm going to set this thing up on
okay, that's okay.
It took me.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, it took
And
me
if you have your phone, shut that off. Oh, speaking of which,
Hold on a second.
now mine is all right if you just shut the Wi-Fi off, so it's not, looking for the Wi-Fi. Boom.
Do you know that up in Monticello, Ronnie, tell me if you remember this. Up in Monticello, I guess it was the 70s. I don't really remember. They had who was the best looking driver, and a bunch of guys got up there, and I think Ronnie Pierce was one of them. Carbone was another one.
Yeah.
Joe Simone was another one. Johnny Simone was another one. And I thought back then that Johnny DeSimone, well, they were all good-looking kids, all of them. I'm not sure if you won, Ronnie. I think it was the Carbone kid that won.
No.
The best-looking driver.
You mean like Ron Carbone?
No. What the hell is his name?
Because Ron got fired. He doesn't know. Ted Wing fired Ron over following Ron Carbone in a race. He couldn't believe it. Ron was following him. So Ted, God bless him. I saw a picture of him on Facebook yesterday. He had to fire Ron over that. Shouldn't
That
have
was
followed.
Larry. You're thinking of Herman's son, right? Carbone.
Yeah, what was his name? Herman's son. The kid.
Yeah, he was a good-looking guy. Yeah.
The good
Wasn't Ronnie, Bill?
No, Ronnie's different. I don't even think they're related, are they, Larry? I don't think.
No. But there was Joe DeSimone. There was Ronnie Pierce. There
I'll
was
look 'em up.
the Carbone kid. And there was there were 4 or 5 of them. And Ronnie Pierce. I thought Ronnie. I don't think Ronnie won. I think it was the Carbone kid that won. But Ronnie, when he was back then, he was a handsome kid. He got all the girls. He was a good-looking guy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you
Just
hear me?
about.
Okay.
Very low. You're very low.
Yeah, it was Charlie Garlinghouse won that competition.
That's right, Charlie Garlinghouse. Right.
Garlinghouse.
Another
I've never heard of
good-looking kid. Right. He remembered
Yeah,
Charlie Garlinghouse. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot
I should
all
have
about
gone,
him.
But why
they
didn't
asked
you?
me, they asked me, there was like Playgirls that were the judges, Playboy bunnies, right? About 8 of them, I think. And
His
they
name
asked
was
me a
Phil.
question, who my
Larry.
favorite.
Phil Carbone, right.
Yeah, they asked me the favorite and I, a dumbass, I said Ricky Kurtz. Instead of saying like Joe Rico or Maurice Bergeron or John Gilmore, I said Ricky Kurtz because he was the worst driver on the track.
Wasn't he Ronnie Gerfine's partner at one time?
Yes.
Yeah.
That somebody told me they had a sign on Route 17 and everything.
Yeah, they did.
He came.
Orvidorf, of course. Jimmy told me, Billy.
He came to New England, Ricky, and he had. This is when cable TV first come out, and they had the ticker tape, went along the bottom, and he advertised there. He had a ton of people. He'd have the clubhouse packed on the Saturday night. Oh yeah, and he had a horse. He just lived up the street from me, and he had a horse. He bought a house just across the next street there, and he had a horse. He was a 17-foot high, looked like Roy Rogers' trigger. I'll stand on his hind legs, and it's cemented in the ground in his front yard. Yeah. And Barbara and the kids, they used to come to our place swimming all the time. I had a pool, and they'd come down swimming all the time. And she took her own life. Poor Barbara, right? So
I didn't know that.
No, he stabbed her. He stabbed her.
He what?
She shot her. She shot herself.
I heard he stabbed her.
Actually, an owner of mine, Eddie O'Malley, he was he owned a mare, Mary, what was her name? Something Ida. But anyway, he's a detective in Foxborough. And even though her store was in Sharon, she had a store like a head shop type of deal, right? In Sharon, which is a little town next to Foxborough. And when the call come in, he was in the car close there, so he was the first one there, and she killed herself in the bathroom.
Pretty bad. We got Blaine McKenna on. She's on here, as they'd say in the island, Billy. But he'd be looking ready, though. He'd be saying, "We're ready, huh?"
Yeah. Man,
Ron,
man,
you go hunting today?
No, but I got to go tonight. My friend, I got a friend that has. She free ranges her horses, on public land like state land or BLM.
Yeah.
And friggin' lion jumped on one of her horses last night and ripped it up pretty good. So I told her I'll go out with her tonight and try to kill it.
A lion.
That same lion. Yeah.
How big would it be?
A big old mountain.
Oh, right.
Probably. They say he's really big. I seen one over there the year before. He had to be 180 pounds. He was huge. Because it was 4 years ago. They had there was a lion in the area, and he was killing. He did get one of the colts earlier this year. The same cat. He killed one of the weanlings this same year, and then he jumped on a. Yeah. So I'm gonna go out after him when I get done here with you guys.
Ronnie, what's the idea of free ranging the horses? Obviously, the feed would be free, but what's the reason?
Well, out here, there's national forest land, which is public. There's state land, which is public, and BLM land, which is public. And if no ranchers have that land leased up, you're allowed to free range your horse, or horses are your animals. You know what I mean? You're supposed to have a lease from the state or the agency, the Forest Service, or BLM. But a lot of people just free range. They just move their horses around from one piece to another, and it's a nice way to keep them. She's probably got about.
What about the winter time though? When the snow comes, is there snow there now?
She just leaves them right out there. Treats them like horses.
Right.
So what are they?
So what do you do?
She sells them.
So what do
She
you?
breeds. Yeah, she breeds. She raises her horses like to be very mild mannered, and she sells them. She doesn't want any of their high strung or anything like. She's bred all that out of them over the last 40 years. So she's got customers that been coming to her for years now. And
So what do you do with the cat? If you kill that cat, what do you do with it, Ronnie?
I could probably make a rug out of it or put it on the wall.
Right. That's it.
I'd probably, maybe eat the back straps.
Would it be good eating? Can you eat them?
Yeah, some of them are really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you had it?
No, I killed one a couple years ago, and when I was butchering it or skinning it, I was thinking, man, I should eat this thing, but I just didn't. Because he smelled really good.
Yeah.
Oh, really good. It looked like
I bet.
It looked like a cross between. And
now Larry was asking me earlier about your panning for gold. Was any of that gold worth anything?
Yeah, right now it's worth. I sold 32 grams last week. It was 32 grams, 3,800, I think it was.
How long did it take you to get all that?
It just depends on the spot you're in. Like, you can work your ass off for days and not find a speck, and then all of a sudden you find the right spot. And you could just be in the same spot and not get off your knees, and you could find a couple ounces.
Where do you tend to look? Where's a spot to look? What tells you I should look there, say?
Where people have found gold before, areas that have been mined before, and then around those areas that have been mined before. Because there's gold there. You just got to find it. So a lot of people still prospect, though. I mean,
what's that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that still prospect. Go around looking for new veins and new sources for gold.
Ronnie, if you hit the lottery for $100 million, where would you live? Would you still live where you are and stay right there? Would you move to Vegas or back here? What would you do?
Oh, it'd be between Montana, probably New Mexico, and maybe the Keys down in Florida.
Wow.
I'd like to stay in North America. I love America. I don't want to, I wouldn't want to live in the West Indies or.
Before you get on, we were talking about Jean-Michel Bazir, huh? Do you know that he took a mild stroke? And Billy said, and I looked, he had one in 2012 too. Yeah. See, it was reporting that he had a fracture of a hand or a wrist. They say what happened. It happened at Gros Bois. I think one was under saddle, wasn't it? It took a heart attack or something. Billy, isn't that what happened?
I didn't read any about it. I don't know.
I read that. Yeah. And then, so I don't know. I talked to Kersey there, his second command. She said he can't move his arm. And he said that, it was on Paris turf today. So he says the son, Nicholas, will drive in the Prix d'Amérique, and like he said, if he doesn't know that he will be back. Yeah, doesn't know. Driving. Yeah.
How old is he, Greg?
55, Ron. He's not. Okay. It's not by today's standards, but as Billy said, he's been driving less anyway. Like, I think he only drives when he knows he can win pretty well. If you watch him, because the night I drove at Vincennes, he never drove at all that night. He had the guys that worked for him because he had nothing that could win. See, but you were at Grosbois, right, Ronnie?
Oh yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Center. I mean, it's just awesome.
And did you drive in Vincennes? Paris?
I wouldn't race there.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it was like 93, something like that.
What kind of start?
It was the World Drivers' Championship.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a gate start.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other one they call a vault, huh?
Is that right?
I think that's what they call it, don't they, Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you fight for your position, right?
Yeah. How does that work? Do you know?
They just, I don't know if they give you, is that how you spin and then you fight for a position and you just head out like Ronnie know better than me.
What?
Yeah. So,
Ronnie would know.
Like, say 1 through 5. Yeah. I know. I got 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 would follow the 2 would follow the 1, 3 follow the 2, and then from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 7 would follow the 6 and 8 follow the 7, and you're in these tight circles. And then, like, if there's more, like if there's like 50 horses, 11 would be the leader of the circle, and 12 would follow him, and they just go in circles. This starting just they try to get everybody like the 1 3 or 1 6 and like 11 lined up, first spin same rate, and then he'll say go when he feels that they're close enough, he'll turn you loose, and you charge on out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I never wanted to drive in the Marique, because I never felt I was qualified for.
Well, that's why Wally Hennessy took himself off. He thought the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was afraid of the language. Yeah. Like he did right. He thought that was the best thing for the horse and the owners, and we know how great he was. I'm sure he could have done it, but he didn't want to take the chance. And he was there. He watched it.
Yeah, he was there. Bazier drove her, actually.
That's what I was going to say. Because my man Joe's drove her somewhere too, but I don't know where. Yeah. Italy, maybe?
He drove, yeah, could have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we were there, Larry, you would enjoy this.
Yeah,
we made the reservations, like you had to make reservations months before, so we knew we were going. So we made reservations for the Eiffel Tower. There's 2 restaurants there. As the tower, there's a level, like probably, I don't know, a third of the way up, there's restaurants there and stuff, you can kind of overlook the city. Then you get in an elevator, and it doesn't go straight up. It goes up all the way, crooked, like up to the top. And they have a restaurant up there. And it only holds about 50 people, maybe, or 60. And they just have a set menu, like a 4-course meal. We had venison the night we were there. Man, was it good. I mean, that was an experience in itself, just to do that, to say that you had done that, right? And the food was remarkable. That was the best meal that I had there. They always talk about how good the French food was. The bread and the brownies and the cheese I always found was really good, and the coffee. But any of the rest of it, we were having trouble finding good restaurants. Maybe it was in the area we were in. And we did find a KFC one time.
I had that when I was there, and it was good too. Ronnie, Chris Coyle, I got a question here for you. Mr. Muscle Man. he did not go to the Prix d'Amérique, did he? No. Did he only go to Sweden and that was it?
No,
Where else did he
Sweden
go?
and Canada. Yeah,
Well, Canada,
yeah,
we don't count. I mean, across
mostly
the pond.
Canada.
What's that?
Yeah, just Sweden's, just the elite lap. We got beaten the elite lap about 3 inches.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much his last. Yeah, I was pretty easy on the old boy. I never left hard with that horse. Every time I raced him, I never left hard. But in the elite lap, I was kind of forced to get him on out of there, and I wished I wouldn't have did it.
Why? You think it tired him?
I took better care, but I wanted. No, I kind of like the trip he got soared him up, and he was never
the same. So would he be? And then Chris was asking about Sweet Lou. Did you think he'd be the sire that he is today?
Like I said, he has used to begin with. Helps at all.
Right. Sweet Lou.
What?
Chris asked Sweet Lou.
I think
did
I'm going to lose you guys.
Well, you're fade. You're better than the last time, but just keep trying. Sweet
okay.
Louis was a great sire. Did you know that? Have you been paying attention?
Shit, I'm going to leave my reception again, guys.
You're good. You're good.
Well, he's still.
Yeah,
Still.
kind of.
It's probably like you say, it's where he's at because I know
where he's at. Because sometimes even if you drive up the mountains, you lose a signal. You know. So
and there's even places till this day. If you're out in the country, you have to get a satellite for internet.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
There's nothing he can do.
No, nothing he can do. So he's gone. What are you gonna do?
Next time
He'll be back.
I'll send a private jet for him. And
Well, because
we'll get him right here.
There he is. He's back. No, can't hear him.
No.
How much does it cost to get a horse from here to Europe or France or? They obviously fly him. What's it cost now?
I think it was when Archie McNeil, they bought some. Remember when they brought a bunch over here a few years ago?
Yeah.
Archie and Mark Beckwith bought one.
Yeah.
I think they gave $29,000 for the horse, and it was $14,000 to get him here.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of them though.
Yeah, oh yeah, they'd have a whole bunch of them.
Was Mr. Muscle Man the year that they flew them right from Newark to Stockholm? There was 1 year there they did.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, I know what it costs from Australia. We brought 3 over here. They're about 5 years ago now, I guess. The first one was 13,000. Then the next one was 18,000. And then the one we have now, he was 31,000 to bring here. But he was 70,000 landed, and he's made 300 and some. So in 3 years, and he's been fun to watch race.
But now the French horses didn't do much good, huh?
No, I think when Mike went over there, he picked them out, or he had limited bank account, right, to do that with.
Right.
And he told me that too, that, a lot of them, they bought them just because they had X amount of dollars, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good horses. Like the Prix de Tainted, when I was there was 9 races. There was 3 real top horses. They raced for $1 million and 500,000, 300. Beautiful, great horses, big fields. Then there was another 3 races they were good horses, but not that level. And then there was the 3 mounted races, which didn't turn me on any, but anyway, they like them. But a couple of those races, they were just horses. I mean, just pretty poor horses, to be honest with you. Yeah, maybe they were young horses.
You'll notice a big difference, which I did. I was at the qualifiers at Grosbois, and they didn't look like the ones
No.
in Paris. But now the funny thing, the one that I drove, he looked and felt like an ordinary horse who would go around Yonkers or anything, no problem at all.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he hadn't won in a year and a half. And they told me not to leave, and I should have left. And I think I might have won. I get off, and I told the guy, you know, if I had got through, he'd have won. And I said, if you can get him back in, he got him back in. He won a race for 65,000 euros. That wasn't at Vincennes, because I talked to Alex Marion today, who will be Felix's brother, you know, the horseshoer extraordinaire in Ontario. And Alex told me that that all the tracks go for good money. It's not like Flamborough and Tartan Downs and Mohawk say.
Yeah. Well, Pierre, you know, I asked him the same thing, because, you know, he was over here with Dubois with one time, right?
Yeah.
And got to know him a little bit. So he said, what would a 50 claimer go for, like at the Meadowlands? And I said 18 to 20,000 probably. He said the same caliber horse could race here. He said he wouldn't race as often. He might race every 2.5 to 3 weeks for 90,000.
Yeah.
So the money was pretty good. And he had a bunch of horses there that, you know, he was showing me that, and they made big money, but they, you know, they were probably more Vincennes horses, I guess, maybe. But he said there's so many racetracks. There's 200 some racetracks in France, right?
Yeah.
A tremendous amount. There's 20,000 standardbreds there and 10,000 thoroughbreds, which is just the opposite in our countries, right?
Yeah.
So, well, not up here. I mean, but, you know, we have more thoroughbreds or standardbreds than thoroughbreds here, because you only got the couple of tracks.
Well,
there, right?
so New Jersey always did too, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. In Ohio, obviously. I mean, Ohio bred more horses than any state for years and years and years, right?
They did back in your heyday in the Baron Hanover days, and that they did too, right? Even back then.
Oh, well, that's where it started. When Hal Jones, hey Larry, when he started the artificial insemination with Gene Abbey, you know, the horses would breed 40, 50 mares. He'd breed 250 or 300, right? So,
Yeah.
and he started that, you know, Hal did, right?
Yeah. Larry, you've never been there to France?
No.
Yeah, you'd like it. You'd like it. Yeah.
I got myself in enough trouble just going to Florida for 3 months.
No, but maybe you could go there, you wouldn't get in any trouble. But I doubt it.
Well,
but we know what happened in the end. If you raced, you'd win. Because the guy said to somebody today, I said, Larry's like the guy in the movie who always gets the girl. I said the same as when he gives a movie type of story.
What kept me alive, Greg, is that I never ran. I always showed up. That's what kept me alive.
Yeah.
You're still doing the same. Well, I talked to you earlier, Billy, and I said,
it's been a way of life since I was delivering newspapers when I was 6 years old. It's been a way of life.
Yeah.
I ducked the guy who sold the papers to me. So it's just been a way of life.
I always said about racing, you know, people would say, you're going to be here, you know, this so-and-so. I go, you know what? You tell me what time to be here, and I'll stay all night, because that's what I do.
Absolutely.
If I got to be here at 7 o'clock and you want me to stay till the 12th or 13th race, I said, I will stay.
You're like Larry David said when the girl was trying to get him to leave the movie. No, he stays till the bitter end for anything.
I told you I worked with an old guy when I was younger. He said, me and Jerry Hughes, he said, you guys are just a pair of ham and eggers.
Yeah.
I said, what does that mean? He said, you just show up.
So, well, or like Billy explained to me, at every track, there's, you know, guys that pretty well, you know, are the top three, and the others are ham and eggers. They make a living getting checks, huh?
Well, my uncle told me, he said, you know, he said, keep in mind one thing, when he said, every racetrack I've ever raced at, there's 5 trainers and 5 drivers. He said, there's a top 5 drivers. And he said, there's a whole bunch of guys that have colors. So that was this theory, right? So
that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, he was pretty good at it. So,
Billy, I said, you know, we talk a lot about the past.
Yeah.
But you had a futuristic view. Like I've always said that I don't know that the 4, 6, 8, and 10 million in the first sub 50, 49 miss, 48, 47. what was your greatest accomplishment? You know, Costa was a whole new life for you, huh? It's
Yeah.
really something that you started
Well,
on your own.
yeah.
It wasn't like you
Well,
walked in. Yeah.
well, I was a director at, at OHA, and then I was president there for a short time. And then, when they didn't have a association, we started that. But it was, I knew everybody. It wasn't like that I was just walking in off the street and learning. And, before that, I had 4 horses of my own, and I really was enjoying myself too. I had, my own truck, my own trailer. I had 4 horses
Yeah.
at the farm, and, truck them around, and I'd drive them a little bit, and then I would get other guys to drive them. I was having a good time. And then all of a sudden this, opportunity came about, and it was needed. So I kind of was thrust into it, and I'm still here. So
Still like it.
yeah,
Obviously.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like the with this part of it, not with the horse part or the horse people part of it, but it's we deal with a lot of government people, right? I'm on the board and executive of Ontario Racing. You deal with a lot of people that really don't know much about the business or don't know anything about it, right? So you got to treat them. I remember Joe DeFrank said that when he told Sam when he was announcing races at the Meadowlands, he said, "I want you to announce every race like you're announcing to people that never been to the racetrack before," and that's basically what my job is when we go to meet like MPPs and the member of parliaments and stuff. That you got to explain everything from the bottom. You don't want to get them. You don't want to lose them, right? So, and you got a certain amount of time when you go meet with those people too. You get about four lines in a paragraph to read to them, and then you got 40 minutes with them, right? So if you're lucky enough, and we've met with so many of them over the years that you kind of get to know them. So I enjoy it.
Getting back to what we just mentioned before, I got to butt in because I'll forget what I was going to.
Forward ahead. Your show.
I listened to a very, very smart and successful guy once, years and years back, and they asked him a question. If you had a business, well, he obviously had a very successful business. Would you hire? What's your preference, to hire somebody that was extremely talented in the field that you're in, but not very reliable, or somebody that's not quite as talented but very dependable? And his answer was the dependable guy. Where I'm not sure if I would have gave that answer. I don't know, and I wrestle with that. I don't know what the right answer to that is, and maybe it all depends on the business that you're in. But it's very, very difficult to find a guy that's extremely talented and knowledgeable and almost like a savant in that area. But every once in a while he don't show up, or have a guy that's there all the time, but just don't know that much. I think I'd rather. I don't know if I agree with that answer. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'd take the dependable guy.
Yeah.
I would, just because I've been in that situation that when Merle McDonald worked for me for 17 or 18 years, and he ran the whole stable. He did the ender and he did it all. But if he needed help, he would call me. Like, if he needed the horse he was having trouble with, or to train or something and wanted a second opinion, he would call me, and I would much rather have that.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about now the horse business, where all the guys at the level that you guys are on were the best that they were. So they could own a guy that was dependable but not as knowledgeable could always come to you in situations. Yeah. But there's a lot of businesses like the CEO of General Motors, I'm sure, can't change an engine, so I'm not sure. I think it probably depends on the business. Another question I wanted to ask, because this horse thing I'm working on, this Cool Cap, I think I went as far as I could go. In fact, I'll tell you what I did. I don't, maybe I shouldn't mention this, but I have a big hook in Saudi Arabia, and I was just wondering, because this cool cap that I created, it worked 100% in hot, humid weather. I mean, it would be a lifesaver. So my question is, in all around the countries that you guys been in, because I was never there, in France and Italy, does it get very humid and very hot and humid where the horses have a tough time?
I think Italy would, Larry. I mean, they always said, don't, if you're going to go to Rome, don't go in July and August, right? Always go in the fall, and it's so hot there. And I think Australia too. It gets pretty hot there. Like right now, you'll start watching the Australian Open tennis. It'll be 125 degrees on the court sometimes, right? So
Yeah, because
I don't know.
I think this thing is going to be really explode, and I'm not sure of my next step. In fact, I'll tell you what I did. I called up Sandy Goldfarb. Sandy Goldfarb, for those of you who don't know, he was in the standardbred business for a lot of years and always owned 20, 30, 40, 50 horses. And then he switched to the thoroughbreds, and he owns probably 50 or 60 thoroughbreds. And he's on all the boards and everything else, and he really loves both games. And extremely wealthy guy, Wall Street guy, loves the horse business. And right now, I believe he owns about 40, 50 horses, thoroughbreds. He might even own some standardbreds too. And I called him up, and I said to him, I says, listen, I have this thing I created. I've been working on it since I seen horses collapse in the 80s at Hialeah. It was amazing to me that they would just collapse. And I start really looking into it. And what amazes me, even up to today, that there is no record of any horses. If a horse collapses on the racetrack and he don't break a bone, they just call it sudden death. They don't know if he collapsed from a heart attack, from heat exhaustion, from heat stroke, from AFib. They have no idea. They just put it under one category, and they don't even keep a record of that. And I checked as many countries as I could find around the world. Nobody has any record of that. And I really believe that the few records that they do have is during live racing. But more horses die during the mornings when the humidity is really high. That's the real killer, and they don't even track that. And I believe that probably some of the horses that die. I mean, sometimes if a horse snaps a bone or a coffin bone or whatever, you'll see the leg dangling. But sometimes you don't. Sometimes they go down, and going down they snap a leg, and it could be from heat exhaustion or a stroke. And horses are not like humans. They don't get heart attacks. They don't get clogged arteries. They're completely different. And the only way a horse can die of a heart attack is from not getting rid of the body heat that the body creates. And the only way they can get rid of that is through sweat. And once it's humid, or you throw coolers on them, or whatever the reason might be, and usually it happens when the temperature, the Fahrenheit temperature and the humidity, when them two numbers combined go above 130, now it's a serious problem for the horses, and especially the brain, which is the thermostat, and that controls the heartbeat, and the brain temperature is always 1 or 2 degrees higher than the core temperature, and the core temperature goes within a minute and a half, goes from normal 100 degrees to 104, 105, and that's if a horse is in perfect shape, physically and mentally, and everything is good. I called up Sandy, and I says, I don't know the next step. I know the next step. The next step has to be that I create my own factory, because there is no company. There's 1 or 2 companies in the United States that make blinkers, and this gel that I created, it goes inside right between the ears and couple of inches down the forehead, and so you have to have a set of blinkers. I mean, you don't have to have the cups on it, but you have to have a set of blinkers. And to eliminate any reason for a horse not having blinkers that don't wear one, in my situation, I made them all white, so it reflects 98% of the sun rays and everything else, and it keeps the head cool. Just because there's a white covering that covers the brain, but getting away from that. There's nobody that makes them. I have to deal with China. So after dealing with China for a couple of months, I basically told them to go fuck themselves. And not only that, but I needed a custom blinker because I needed 4 inches between the ears instead of 3 or 3.5, which is the blinkers that China makes for the United States. I have to create my own factory, and I'm going to create my own which everything I'm saying I already created. It's already done. But now the next step is building a factory. Now it's not just marketing a set of blinkers.
What would that cost?
Well, it probably cost me. Look, right now I must have bought 100 sets of blinkers nationwide, and also from Australia and from all the tack shops in the country that I bought them from. They're all made in China or Taiwan, and a couple are made in Australia.
Nah, there's the people though in Oklahoma make them.
Yeah, I got the blinkers. There's a real nice company, 3 ladies that make them in it's called Triple Crown. They made them for me, and they did a real good job. But it took me 2 months to get them. And I said, what if I want to order 100,000 sets? Some with cups, some with no cups. So, they says it would take us a year to do. So, I mean, that's not acceptable. And then, and they charged me, I think it was $80 for a set of blinkers. And naturally that was with, it wasn't made out of silk or satin like the cheap blinkers, because you could buy a set of blinkers for $30. But I'm talking about double knits or a 2-way stretch or 3-way stretch of spandex and polyester. But anyway, so a good set of blinkers. Every set of blinkers I paid between $70 and $85 for the blinkers from all the harness shops around here. So I'm sure that they probably paid maybe $30 or $40 or $50 for them. A set of blinkers, if I had China make them, a set of blinkers would cost me probably $8. I'd have to have a special sleeve made in and have the ears separated an inch further, so it'd be a custom thing. Plus, I'd want the factory. I don't want the material that they make in China, because it's all that material is inferior, and they use a dye that's toxic as hell. So I got the material here. It's from Apex, a company that checks all the materials for the hospitals and everything. So everything I put together is A1 perfect and everything else. But the problem and there's a whole lot more that went into it that I won't get into. But the problem, what I told Sandy was, the next step is I need to buy a machine to fill these gels into the 4 milligram bags, and that machine costs maybe $15,000-$20,000. We priced it all out. I had prices for everything, and then I need to buy a machine or a couple of machines that, they say, well, what's the big deal about making a set of blinkers? Well, it's no big deal. All you got to do is create a patent, but the problem is the holes. What do you do with the holes? The holes got to be in the exact same spot on every set, and then they have to be sewed. So you really need a machine that's made for that, a computerized machine. So I have all of that. Now the problem is the money to get all this stuff, put it all together, basically on the come. Now I already talked with HISA, and I already talked with a bunch of veterinarians, and I've already been testing this stuff for maybe 3-4 months already, and it works perfectly. It does everything I says it will do, and it will basically eliminate all the heat stroke and AFib and all of that terrible stuff that thousands of horses die from every year. And I'm sure on this in fact, I'll tell you what I could do. I'll show it to you right now. I think I could show it to you. Yeah, I'll just show you one. And this is I have 100 of them. Okay, I won't show you anymore. I got 100 of them, but that horse wound up dying, and that went into he started heat exhaustion, went into heat stroke, went into AFib. Once the brain gets to be 100, 107, 108 degrees, it starts sending crazy signals to the heart. The heart starts AFibbing, and that's the result. So anyway, and it was the people, the racehorse people knew all about this for 200 years, but there's nothing because it's a bodily function. You know, the horse pumps in a mile race. A horse pumps almost 100 gallons of blood, and 85% of that goes to the muscles, and they just generate so much heat. So if a horse is not completely hydrated and in real good shape, and just because a horse don't wobble or anything after the race, that don't mean he's not affected by heat stroke. And once you get heat stroke, some horses never come out of it. A lot of horses develop AFib for a long time after that. I won't get into all of that stuff, but anyway. So I just did this morning. I sent Sandy Goldfarb. I sent him all the information, the same information I sent Heisa, and they approved it. They said, this is great. We've been looking to find. So to finish the other part is you can't stop that from happening. But what I did with this heat absorbing gel is I delayed the process. So instead of the core temperature reaching 105 or 106 in a minute, I delayed it where it would take 10 minutes for it to get to that temperature.
Yeah.
And naturally the races are over. The race is over by then, so you'll never have that problem just by delaying the situation.
Can I ask you something here?
Yeah.
To me, would be the elephant in the room. Just because Heisa says we love it, it's great, I would think it would have to be approved by the different racing commission.
If
it was
exactly
in California,
right.
They'd have to prove it. It was in Ontario AGCO.
You're exactly right.
The fact that there's a gel in it, which would have some kind of a chemical, and that's going to take time.
Greg, everything you're about to say, I already checked it out.
So all the racing commissions say they'll let it go.
No. You're right. It's up to the gel. I got all the ingredients in the gel. It's completely non-toxic, even though any chemical, anything in the world is a chemical, but some are non-toxic. So I pass all of that. I pass all the restrictions that the Food and Drug Administration might have. I passed everything, but you're 100%.
Did you get formal approval, Larry, from the Food and Drug Administration?
No, I don't. They won't. They said, did you fall into any of these categories? And my answer is no. And they said, well, you don't need our approval. So I passed all of that.
I just don't want you see you going through it all when it would come down to that, and I would never assume.
Well,
that they would make
problem.
The decision you think they're going to make.
Greg, let me finish because I'll lose my train of thought.
Okay.
Here's my problem. My problem is I went as far as I could go. I've been working on this for 30 years. And in the last 6 months with a scientist, going back and forth, it cost me a lot of money to get to this point, trying different things and how it worked and testing. And, but here's the problem. No, the FDA can't stop me. The Heisa can't stop me. But you're right. The racing commissions, every state would have to approve it.
Yeah.
Now, here's
You
my
might
answer.
want to speak to Ed Martin at the ARCI, the
Yeah,
American.
but here's
You
the
might have.
thing. Here's the thing. How are they going to do more testing than I already did? How are they going to buck the references I have from scientists, from universities, and all the information and all the tests that I created? How are they going to buck that? And then my answer to them is, if they just says, well, look, we don't want it for whatever reason. It weighs 3/4 of a pound. We don't want that on the horse's head. Well, how about if I tell the animal rights people that I could stop thousands of horses from dying every year, but you won't let them race because you don't want a half a pound on the forehead of a horse. And what about the insurance companies that are insuring these horses $20-30 million? I mean, I guarantee if I contact any one of them, they would make it mandatory that you can't insure a horse unless you're wearing this cap. And it goes on and on and on. And then I would say to the commission, how many horses do you want to see die this summer? And even though it can happen in the winter too, because the horse's temperature rises just as fast in the winter months as the summer months. But we'll just talk about summer. And how many horses you want to die? How do you want to test this thing? You want to actually put sensors in their heart and their lungs and their muscles? What do you want to do? How many horses you want? I don't see how any jurisdiction can stop this from happening. And many people said, just like this. I heard there was a guy, I can't think of his name, a really nice guy, and you guys know him. I just can't think of his name. He called me up. He said there's a girl in, I don't know where she's from, Kentucky or someplace, that's selling these blinkers here, and all it is spandex. It's a set of blinkers with no cups in the hood. And they use it as a compression hood to keep a horse calm. That's their marketing thing. It keeps the horse calm.
Right.
It cost me $120 for this, and all they say is that, and a beautiful brochure comes with it. And everything. It's made in Australia by a major company in Australia called Heinz, and they do a good job. And she's selling thousands of these.
Well, couldn't you do a joint venture with her?
I don't want to do a joint. Why would I do a joint venture?
Because she's already got a lot of the market.
No, I need a guy like Sandy that's willing to put up $200,000-300,000, build a factory, and
$200,000 or $300,000.
Yeah.
You mean $2 or $3 million?
No, 250.
Build a factory.
But the factory, it's a bullshit factory. I need a couple of machines. Look, I don't want to take over the whole show and talk about this. But,
we already have, but we don't care. We don't care. There.
I'm waiting. I keep looking for Ronnie to come back, but he's not coming back. So I figure
One thing about you, Mr. O'Donnell, and I say, and he will confirm, that you've always had dreams, Mr. Rolla. Always have. We like that. We like that about you.
You know what they always told me, even when I was a kid. All my friends always told, wise guy friends too. They says, why are you always looking to hit a grand slam? and my answer is, it's up to the other guys to get on base. I'm swinging for the bleachers every time I get up. I mean, I'm 84. I was diagnosed with cancer. I'm 85 now. I'm 85 years old. What the fuck? Do I want to start selling one set of blinkers at a time? I'm looking at right now, because out of necessity, I'll build the only set of blinkers that are made in the United States that are infused with a heat-absorbing gel that the whole world. I have the people in Dubai and in Saudi Arabia, they were spending almost $1 billion on that hypoxic stall that I made. And then they wind up screwing me at the end, but that's because they saved $1 billion, and I sent one over there like an idiot.
To me, with respect, Mr. Rolla,
go ahead.
that, and I'm looking what David Arthur says here. He says you can't build a factory for 200 to 300,000. He says, Larry, I know I'm in the manufacturing business, so I agree with that. Today,
Well,
you get permits. Hang on, and it's going to take time. The permits and everything. You go to build a house today. You know the permits.
I need a permit to make a set of blinkers.
I get it, but I'm saying that hood, by the way. That hood that you're talking about, I'll bet you it wouldn't work for guys like O'Donnell and Peck. We'd have to have earplugs or a real hood or something. Not just, we've tried all that.
Let me tell you
they're selling nothing and it's selling. So maybe if they had something to sell, you might have a market there. So Billy, what do you think?
I don't know. I think that he's just got to get it on the road. Once he gets past his next step.
But this company already has that other thing on the road. Wouldn't that be the best way? All they'd have to do would be to put the gel in, and maybe you can get it by that. I don't know.
I know.
Okay.
I examined every possible situation. And when I realized that nobody's going to make a special hood for me. No company in the United States is in that business to mass produce blinkers. And hey, look, it's just like I got to take the shot. It's just like building a restaurant. You do your due diligence. You say, okay, this is going to be great. We're going into the older people's area, and we're going to build a nice cheap meal and everything else, and we're going to have 100 seats. Now, you don't know if there's 100 people that are going to come, but everything I did was on the come. And this is it. Do I believe this is going to work? Why shouldn't it work? Why, I know it works, but will it be accepted? How could it not be accepted? Do you know if I showed you just half of the films that I have, and you could watch the thoroughbred races, I'm not talking about standardbreds now, I'm talking about thoroughbred. Half the field in just about every thoroughbred race, half the field is 15, 20 lengths back. They already lost their action. They're on the wrong lead. They're all over the place, and they're wobbling when they come back. Now, if I get into the standardbred bit, my biggest argument there is the Lasix. A horse, the only way a horse can lose its heat, lose the body core temperature, is through sweating. Once the humidity, say the humidity is 80 to 70% humidity, and let's say the temperature is 80 degrees with 70% humidity, that's the death sentence for horses.
But some of them have to have Lasix, though.
I know. So here's what I'm saying. When a horse gets Lasix, they lose, with just 3 cc's of Lasix, they lose 4 gallons of fluid within an hour. Okay? When a horse races, he loses 3 to 4 gallons of fluid by the end of the race. Okay? Right. That's almost 10% of the horse is 75% fluid, his whole body. Yeah. That's almost 10% of the body fluid they lose. What happens when you lose 10% of your body fluids? All organs start to fail. And that's what's happening. So that's my biggest selling point with the standardbreds. But that's why I don't talk about standardbreds, because I don't want to get into that. The thoroughbreds they wear.
What do you mean? You talk about standardbreds all the time.
Yeah, but not with this cap. And this whole thing is weird. Will it work with standardbreds? Yeah. But look, let me just say this. I'll put it to you this way. Just like
what about the quarter horses? There's a lot of them too.
I know, but hey, look, there's 50,000 thoroughbreds in this country right now. What's wrong with selling? Not counting the rest of the world. Not counting, just like Billy said before, Australia, very, very hot during the summer months. I happen to be friendly with the guy that owns the biggest harness shop down there through a friend of mine. I'm not friendly with him, but in fact, he was on my podcast. He has the biggest harness shop there. So I have the out in Saudi Arabia. I have all I need is a factory. And as far as that guy, I'm going to find his name before we leave. As far as the guy that says I build companies, I build all I need, when I say a company, all I need is I need maybe, let's say, even if I need 5 machines that punch these things out, and then another machine to sew the cups on if they need cups, blankets.
So I got a question, Larry. Have you
Yeah.
ever contacted or thought about the Amish or the Mennonites?
You mean to make them?
Yeah,
No.
they're very, very good, boy. They're we like what do you call them down there that makes the whips? I don't even know them, but
Yoni.
Yoni. Well, we got a place up here called Brewbakers. You ever been there, Greg?
Yeah, they'll make
Brewbakers?
anything.
Anything. You go upstairs, they probably got
Yeah.
10, 12 women up there, all the machines you can think of. I'd call up there and I want 4 stable sheets, summer stable sheets. I tell them what I want, blue with white, and I like the white stripes, and I want the leg straps on them. When can I pick them up? They go, tomorrow.
Right.
When you go up and they're ready, they do them. You go upstairs and they're done.
Really, I never thought of that, and you're 1,000% right, and that's the first call I'm going to make tomorrow. But let me just say this: when Bruce Jackson's barn, when I left the thoroughbred business, I gave all my horses to Bruce Jackson, and I left the business. The reason I left the thoroughbred business had nothing to do with nothing, except it was a personality thing, and I just gave the horses plus a very good owner to Bruce Jackson. They called me up about 2-3 months later, and it was my owner's daughter who was really involved, and I taught her everything. I got her exercise, rider's license. So anyway, she called up and she says, Larry, we need you back here. He's not you, and this, all that kind of nonsense. I says, look, I'm not coming back. She calls me up 2-3 months later, and she says, my father went partners with Bruce in the barn at Fairhill. The barn was worth about $1 million, and he bought another 20 or 30 horses.
We're getting some feedback on the audio here.
Yeah, well, that's not me. So yeah, I know. I hear it. Well, let me talk fast before something happens. So now, he calls me up and says the barn burnt down. All my horses died. So I went down. I drove down to Fairhill, and all her horses were dead. And so now they come to me and they says, look, the daughter was not happy with Bruce Jackson as a trainer. So what did I tell the owner, who was my owner, who I says, don't build a therapy center. They built a therapy center, and I says, get the Amish to build it. They're the best, they're the fastest, they do the best work, and they do everything. And they built that barn. It's right now at Fairhill, the biggest thoroughbred therapy center in the country is the one that I built.
Is it Fairhill, Maryland?
Yeah, Fairhill, Maryland.
Yeah.
And right now they house 85 horses there. They just bought another farm to stable another 50 or 60 horses. They charge, I'm not sure about this. They charge, I think, $100 a day just to be stable there, plus. I got them a hyperbaric machine, and that's busy 24 hours a day, $300 an hour. It's busy 24 hours a day. They made millions but the whole thing started with the Amish building an unbelievable center, and which included underground treadmills and all of that therapeutic stuff. So I know about the Amish. I just never thought of them doing the thing, but that's a good thing. So if I'm going to wait for Sandy to get back to me, if Sandy's interested, then me and Sandy will own the whole thing. But I gave all my friends, Joe Aquilino, Joe Guarino, and all the kids that are on with me on Tuesday, Eddie, all retired horse guys that are really not doing very well. And I says, look, these are all my partners. Whatever I have to give away for the money guy at the end, whatever is left, we'll split it even. Though I did all the work and I put up all.
What about me? You didn't say me. I'm on the show.
You can have a piece too. Everybody can. I don't care.
Got to get it done first. Listen, you know what I would recommend, and I'm not saying resistance sometimes is a good thing. David Arthur here, 9289, knows a lot about it. I think that you two, rather than, with the group, you guys should speak because he knows a lot about this, about manufacturing. That's the guy you want to talk to.
But there's really nothing to manufacture. It's a set of blinkers.
Yeah, but you still have to, the safety. Hang on, safety standards when you got machines. In previous careers, I was into a lot of manufacturing places of DuPont and the pharmaceutical companies, ExxonMobil, stuff like that. We know it's not something that's, but there still would be standards you'd have to adhere to, I would think. And
no, there is not. It's a set of blinkers.
Somebody asked too about, did Sandy Goldfarb Run the Table? No, that was Run the Table Stables with Jimmy for years ago. That's Blaine McKenna asked me and listen to her, as they'd say. So Larry, keep going. You want to keep going on that? I'm not.
No, we lost Billy. What happened?
He'll be back. Might have to go to the bathroom or something.
Oh, okay. Where's the guy that said he owns the business? Where is it?
David Arthur 9289. There you go.
Oh, there he is, right there.
He's giving you several
messages. Can't build a factory for 200,000, Larry. I'm in the manufacturing business.
Yep. Keep going.
Okay. Here he is. Let's see. Business insurance, liability insurance, rent, mortgage, workman's comp. Yeah, you're probably right. I didn't think, but I mean, I'm not talking about a business that's going to be like we're making electric cars. We're making a fucking set of blinkers, So yeah, I know you have to have liability. I already have the price for the insurance I need. I already have. The only thing I don't have is how big of how many square feet. I probably only need 2,000-3,000 square feet, the most for the machinery that I'm going to have for the shipping and everything. So you're probably right. I probably need maybe 500,000, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But David Arthur, if you're in that business and you already have, first of all, I don't even know where he lives, where he is.
Yeah.
But if you're in that business and you want to talk to me about
he wants to. He's already said on here. Yeah, he wants to talk to you.
Well,
so you see David Arthur 9289. That's it.
Let's see. Here he is. I wish Larry the best, honest, but he needs help from someone who knows.
There you go.
Well, you're right. Look, I know what
the guy wants to help you. That's a good thing.
I know what I don't know. But what I do know is that when you get somebody like, if Sandy Goldfarb ever wants to do this thing, number one, he's on all the boards of Thoroughbred Racing. Number two, he's one of the wealthiest guys and one of the wealthiest owners and owns 50 Thoroughbred racehorses for the last 20, 30 years. So he's the right guy, and all his friends are. So all I really need, if he wants to jump aboard this thing, all you really need is money. I didn't call Sandy Goldfarb because he's a really nice guy and he's a good friend and everything else. I called him because it was a strategic call. He's in the business. He knows about the business.
What made you think of calling him?
I'm telling you the reasons. He was in the business.
You just thought of Sandy Goldfarb.
What's that?
You knew him from before?
Oh, yeah. I know him from the Standardbred business. Yeah, right. He's a great guy. He's really a good guy. And so now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to need, maybe David Arthur is right. Maybe I need $1 million. Well, Sandy Goldfarb and his partner built all the grooms' quarters at Belmont Park for nothing, out of their own pocket. The guy's a really good guy and an extremely wealthy guy, that this to him would be nothing. Plus, he loves the horses and the horse business so much that he might just do it. And once a guy like that has the money, everything else falls into place. He already has businesses where I'm sure he can pick up the phone and get the right insurance. He get the, nobody's going to fuck with a guy that look, when you have knowledge, when you have money, you have knowledge, you have connections, you have everything. And Sandy has everything that I don't have. The only thing that he don't have is what me and this scientist created: a heat-absorbing gel with a freeze point of 75 Fahrenheit, and it'll last for hours.
And you have the patent on it too?
Yes, I have a patent. You know who got me the patent?
Oh,
A standardbred guy. Oh God, what's his name? He just passed away too. His son became a patent attorney, and he did the patent for me. Yeah, it's patented. I got everything. I did everything. There is nothing more that I could do. I had one little problem in testing it in the beginning, but I solved that problem. And the only thing I don't have is a bunch of. I don't have the final product, because I have the material for the final product. I just don't have the machine to make it. I called.
Where did you test it, Larry?
At Belmont Park with Eddie.
How many horses?
I tested it on all his horses. I tested it jogging, training. What's that?
All of Sandy Goldfarb's?
No. Eddie.
Oh, okay.
The
So that's how many horses?
what?
How many horses did you test?
Well, they only had 4 or 5, but it makes no difference.
You probably got to test more.
I got it right over here. I think I spent $400 or $500 on this stupid thermal imaging thing, where it takes the temperature, the internal temperature, and it shows you the whole picture. I did as much as I could possibly do, and I even sent it to Dr. He's a veterinarian, Piggott. I think his name is Piggott, something like that. He owns the hospital. He's the veterinarian. He owns the hospital at Belmont Park. I sent him all the information, and he said, very, very interesting. It's something that we need. And I'd like very much to talk to you about this after the holidays. So I'm waiting for a date that he has the clinic free, that he's going to put. I guess he's going to try to test it. He said he's going to put a horse on a treadmill and test it. But I'm not worried about it one way or the other, because I know it's going to test okay. I've been testing it now for months.
Yeah,
So,
but it'd be a good thing if he did do that, though.
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah,
gives you more credibility.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yeah.
That's why I went to him.
Right.
I try to get to the universities, but they want to give me dates, and I got to get a horse and ship them up there. And I'm trying to get, look, just like this thing. My main thing in the beginning was, if I'm going to do this, one thing I know for sure, not so much for the standardbred guys, it's for the thoroughbred guys. You got to make it idiot proof. It got to be fucking idiot proof.
That's like anything, though.
Well, now with the standardbred guys, they're pretty sharp. If you tell the standardbred guys, and that's another thing, if you tell us a thoroughbred guy, look, this set of blinkers that has a gel that's infused into it, and the blinker has to go on first before the bridle, they'll fucking panic. They'll panic. So I had to create a situation where the gel goes, where they could put the blinker on, because the thoroughbreds,
they put it on after the bridle.
They put the bridle on at the barn. They can't
Yeah.
put a bridle on in the paddock. The whole things
Right.
will run loose. So they want to put the blinkers on last. So I readjusted where the gel goes. There's 300 grams of gel that goes in this little pocket. And I did all. I made it complete idiot proof. Not only did I make that idiot proof, I made the gel idiot proof, where it self-generates, you don't have to freeze it. You don't have to put it in the refrigerator. Just put it out on room temperature when you want to wash the blinkers. Just take it out from the pouch and wash the blinkers, and that's it. It regenerates itself. The only thing I'm not sure as, and I really don't care, is that it'll probably wear itself out in a year or two, which I don't care, because the set of blinkers is going to wait. Let them rebuy it every year. Because the way
you'd want to put a warning label on like that, then.
Put what?
You'd want to put a warning label on it, then.
Well, I already put together a three-page pamphlet.
Yeah.
That accompanies
go with it.
And I told them, and I have it, how to store it.
Yeah.
what it's for, and I put down 3 pages of questions and answers that they might, you know. So I did everything. But this guy David Arthur, I should David.
Just
I
give me
guess
your email address or your phone number, Larry, whatever you want.
I'm gonna give my phone number right now,
Yeah.
David. My phone number is 201-400-3485. Now, when you call me, I'm not going to answer because you're not in my contacts, and I get 300 calls a day to get a warranty on my car and all of that kind of stuff, just like everybody else gets. They get a million bad phone calls. So text me that this is David Arthur, and then I'll get right back to you. And maybe we could do something. Maybe you could help me. Maybe whatever. But I think right now all I need is I think I just like I told Sandy, I went as far as I could go. I spent 30 years, the last 6 years with a scientist. Spent a lot of money, for me, a lot of money getting to this point, and a lot of time, and I'm ready for the next step, but not financially. So I need.
Well, I think Billy's idea.
I'm going to call the Amish too,
because here's the deal: they already have a manufacturing facility set and ready to go.
I'm
and
glad.
I'll tell you what, I do it at Yoni, or there's Mast. There's different ones, that do it. And yeah, I'm sure they would do it because all it would be to them is not much. If you gave them the stuff and they made money on it, I can't see why they wouldn't, that they'd be fine. I would think.
I will supply the material because I made a deal with the company that I'm going to use buy the material from,
right.
And they were real nice to me. They sent me up a lot of yards of material, different combinations. 85% polyester, 25% spandex, some nylon and spandex, 4-way stretch, 2-way stretch, no stretch. I tried every combination to see which one would fit best and last longest, with daily use.
David says I nailed it, and then he said he and his wife ran into you in the Garden State Mall parking lot, and he has your.
That's who it is.
That's who it is.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but we were supposed to meet for lunch. He's right.
Well,
he's right. Yeah, we were supposed to meet for lunch. So now, David, you have my phone number. If you, what's this guy say? David Arthur. He says, you get Mr. Goldfarb, you're home free. He would handle all the things. You're right. See, he's right. David, you're right. And that's why I called him. And David's a good guy. He's a good friend. He loves the horses. He probably owns between.
You mean Sandy?
Sandy, yeah.
What did he say when you told him about this?
Somebody must have told him that I was thinking of maybe on this podcast, because the next morning he called me. I haven't seen Sandy or spoke to Sandy in 40 years.
Right.
And I told him, I told him a little bit about it. And I says, look, I'm not good at explaining things because I fuck everything up. I see half of what I said here. I talk in circles. I don't know what. I just know. I know how to do it. I know, but I don't know.
We love you. It doesn't matter what you do.
So
and your audience loves you too. Everybody I talk to. So you do whatever you want.
So if Sandy, and what David said is true. If Sandy likes this thing, I'm home free. It's a home run, and he's a good guy. And look, a lot of my friends trained for him when he was in the Standardbreds, and he helped a lot of people that were down on there. He's just a good guy.
By the way, Steve, you're right. I do wear the shorts with the suits now because I find it too warm. But I forget who I saw the other day. One of the anchors, the same thing. You'd be surprised. So sorry about that. can't get out of your
Let's
head.
see here. David
Billy,
says,
now can we change the subject?
yeah, Greg says the Amish have a facility. You pay a fixed price per unit, no risk. Yeah,
That's
all right.
David.
I'm gonna
Same guy.
if Sandy don't want to get involved, my next step will be the Amish. I'm glad Billy mentioned. Yep, that's good. Well, thank you very much.
Now, somebody asked earlier, Mr. O'Donnell, what they wanted to know why Greenwood closed. I think we know, but you could tell them. What did he say? He wanted to know, why. Question for Mr. O'Donnell: can you tell us about Greenwood? How good was the racing and why it closed? There you go.
It was great racing. I never raced there on a long-term basis. I raced it off and on lots, but winter and summer. The winter, the reason it closed was more of just availability to get in there. Right, it was just so hard to get there. Once everybody was at farms, and at the time they said that the jockey club, it was called before it was called Woodbine Entertainment, that they were strapped for money, and they had to sell off something to get up, to pay off their debt, and they thought they were going to get, I don't know, 70 million for it or 50 million or whatever it was, which ended up they didn't get near that, I guess, because it was contaminated. They claim after the war, when the ships were all coming back home after the war, that the batteries they dumped there, in that spot. And that's, most racetracks are on swampland and free land anyway, right? So I'm sure that's why they built it. The land was cheap, and probably there was no EPA around then, and they didn't know about environmental stuff as much as they did, back in 1993 or 4 when they sold it. But I think that's why they sold it. But the availability to it was very hard to get to. If you went from Mohawk to Greenwood, it would be 45 minutes to an hour. It could take you 3 hours now.
Yeah,
maybe 4. It's terrible.
When you get on the garden.
Yeah. If you even went to 401 back,
Could be a
went
ball
down.
game on too, or something, right?
Pardon?
Could be a baseball game on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
brutal. Yeah, brutal. Yeah, you go right past right by the baseball stadium, the hockey arena. It's a busy city, like any busy city, right?
Let me just say one more thing, and then I'll get off the subject.
Yes, sir.
One more thing. I'm working with my friend now, the scientist, and we're trying to make this thing last for maybe 10 hours, because it would be great for the shippers, because now most of the racetracks don't have a barn area, and a lot of, I know what it's like, because I rode a lot of these vans. It's like a steam bath in there, and if they got to ship 5, 6, 7 hours, or even 3, 4 hours, they're going to be completely drained. Well, they are. You know what it's like. You ship a horse even from show place to the Meadowlands in the middle of July, and they come off soaking wet and blowing. And I mean, it's like the sonar in there. Well, if I can create this to last 5 or 6 hours, they could, and then by the time they race, take it off when they're going to race, and then put it, they self-generate, and it'd be good for the shippers.
Well, for starters, unless they're in Kentucky, they're all on Lasix pretty well. Even because I owned them, and you say to the guy, when are you going to race them? Well, when I get them on Lasix. Does he bleed? No, but I put all mine on Lasix. Okay, it's the thoroughbreds that really put the kibosh on the Lasix.
I left when I sent the girl who's in charge of the safety for the horses for HISA. I forget her name. She's
Lisa
a nice girl.
Lazarus?
No. It was the one that Lisa put this other girl. I think her name is Ann. So I forgot. Anyway, she was real nice. She talked to me for about an hour, and I left the part about LASIK out. I didn't want to complicate things, but let me tell you something. On a hot, humid day, horse that has Lasix is in serious, serious trouble. And even if he survived it, which most of them do, the side effects that you don't even see or know about, they linger and linger. And many horses, that when I was in the game, not many, but a few, once they get that AFib bullshit, they're prone to it all the time. And that's the last thing. But they suffer from tissue damage and everything else, just from a mild heat stroke that you don't even know. Maybe 1 or 2 signs that say the horse come back. He had a tough race. He didn't eat last night. He didn't eat in 2 days. That's all side effects from stuff that you don't even realize that's happening. And this thing. Hey, look. Naturally, look. When I started this, I didn't need any money. I had plenty of money when I started this thing. But when I sat in the grandstands at Hialeah Park every fucking day, and it was after the 7th race at Hialeah, I went downstairs to the back because after the 7th race at Hialeah, they have the flight of the flamingos. They have 1,000 flamingos in the infield, and they chase them, and they all fly. So for 15 minutes, they call it the flight of the flamingos. I went downstairs. I counted the hoses that they had, and when the horses come back after when they unsaddle. They had 15 hoses, and then they had hoses all around the racetrack. And you see, and how I started to pay attention after the 2nd race, the horse was standing there wobbling, something like the picture I showed you, and down he goes. Then all of a sudden he wouldn't get up. They put the thing around him, horse is dead. Bring the chains out, they drag on the trailer. He's dead. And then I start looking at this thing, and from back then until right today, if you look to see how many horses die of AFib or heat exhaustion, there's no record of it. They call every horse that don't die of a broken leg a sudden death, and they don't do no autopsy. But they know what it's from, and they know what it's from because for years every racetrack has a thing that they have to have. They have to have a cooling stall. They have to have a cooling barn that has a refrigerated stall with fans and everything else. I don't know how many racetracks have that, but they have something, and they're supposed to, by law, cancel the races when the combined temperature, Fahrenheit and humidity, when that number, say 80 degrees, percent humidity, when that combined number, which is 140, that thing I just laid out, they're supposed to cancel the races. Anything over 130, they're supposed to cancel races, but they don't ever do it. So anyway, that's what started me. So if I could, and we're working on it right now. The only thing is, after a while you just run out of money. I gotta still survive, pay for my house, my car, and everything else. And this guy's he's real good, but he's pretty expensive. And I can't keep saying, okay, keep working on it, make it so it lasts for 2 days. But the problem with that is the longer it lasts, the more grams, the more weight, and it creates other problems. So maybe I could just build one just for shipping only and put 800 grams in there, which would weigh 2 pounds. But it'll last for 2 days, So, but these are all things, because when I wrote Sandy the email, I said, look, if you're interested, we have a lot to talk about. So let's meet. Let's have dinner, and we'll start the conversation. If it don't hit your hot button, then that's fine. My next call will be to the Yankees.
Will be to whom?
Anyway, I took over the whole show, didn't
I? John Higgins says 87 minutes. It wasn't that. But anyway, but it's your show. You can do what you want.
You talk to Ronnie. Tell Ronnie, say, look, we really appreciate, and everybody would really appreciate you coming on.
We're getting the sound problem again, though.
Yeah, I know.
We got to get him on again now. We got to find out how the lion hunt went.
Yeah, you got to find out how he did with the lion.
You know, and God love him, but I think it's just the service. If he's out in the country, oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, you're lucky to have one bar, you know.
Yeah, there's no way to.
Who else would give up that about the mountain lion? You'd never hear that.
I never met a guy. The only guy I ever knew that hunted mountain lions was Phil Pinckney. He loved it. He used to do it every winter. That's all he did in the winter. He'd go home.
Now, what's he going to do with this woman? To ride some horses in the dark and wait for a lion to come on him?
Who knows?
Well, he said she's been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah.
That's what he said. Well, so she's probably like 60. There you go. And he's, what do we say? He was 68. 68.
You know what I find interesting about him.
Yeah.
Because being around him all the years and racing against him stuff, he never talked much about anything other than the wild. If you want to talk about the wild, that's okay. But as far as like horse stuff, you realize now how much horse sense he really had.
Yeah.
And you just didn't give him nobody gives him credit, or I didn't anyway.
Didn't talk about it.
Hey?
A lot of horse thieves.
Hey?
Didn't he get caught putting the what was it that he put in somebody's uniform? The scent.
Oh,
we talked about that last time.
Yeah, last time we talked about that with the bear. Yeah. But there's a guy told me one time he brought a horse down from Pocono and he said, "Listen," he said, "just be careful of this horse around the tractor." And he said, "And I see some people with some umbrellas there, flags and stuff." He said, "Be careful." He said, and I said, "Oh yeah, you don't like them?" He said, "There's only 3 things that horses are afraid of: bear, tractors, and flags." He said. And I said, "How do you know he's afraid of a bear?" He said, "Well, one get in his paddock a couple of days ago and he come right through the fence to run home." He said, and that's about right. So anyway, no, he's having fun. He's got to protect his animals there too, right? That lion gets hungry.
Yeah, he's got he went to an auction and he bought, this is his sense of humor, he bought a mule. And he'd even called me at times and be riding on Monk, was the mule's name.
Yeah.
So he said, "You'll never believe what happened." What? Well, when he bought Monk, he couldn't get him loaded. Said, "How long?" I said, "You mean, what about the cowboy?" "No." I said, "I guess you never heard of stubborn as a mule, did you?" He said, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
Huh? But they eventually, and he says Monk can run like the wind now. He said, and then he also found a Mustang too, right, Bill? Yeah, like one that came along.
Oh, good looker too. Yeah, he's a very good looking horse.
Yeah.
He castrated him and he had an infection or something, but he's never got around to breaking him yet. But he's probably 5 or something. But with Monk, when he had Monk there, I asked him one time, "How you getting along with Mike?" He said, "Well," he said, "he bucks me off quite a lot." And you know what a mule, they're the same from their hips straight to their shoulders, right? The same. They got no gut. They got nothing to hold a saddle up. I said, you need a britchin or a crooper, on their saddles. You see them all the time. So he got one. He got one with a crooper on it, and he was good after that. Like he said, he doesn't do it because he doesn't like me. I know he likes me, but he said that was irritating, I guess, when that saddle would get up over his withers, right? So. But,
Bill O'Donnell, question for you. Longtime Meadowlands driver. Were you eligible for some sort of pension from them?
I was, yeah. When I
is that through NJR? Is that through the Horseman Association?
Yeah, it was something that they paid into. It never cost anybody that raced there anything. And when I turned, I don't know, 60 or whatever it was, I was eligible to collect it. So I collected it all at once, and it wasn't a lot of money, but it was found money. I mean, I never put anything into it, so I thought it was pretty good. And I'm sure like Jackie Moe, I know he was eligible for it too.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else, but it used to be if you race here 25 years, you were eligible. And I think that
that's who I got to get on the show, is get the master on.
Well, the old master's not
Jackie
very good
Moe,
shape.
I call him the master.
Yeah. He got hurt. He slipped on the ice at the end of his driveway where the plow went by there, and he was out getting the mail or something, slipped, and he broke a couple of ribs again. So we had last night, our directors, we had our Christmas dinner was late, but we'll call it a New Year's dinner last night.
Yep.
And he didn't come. Joanne said he's not getting around very good. So anyway, he'll heal up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
But he goes, he works. Larry, you wouldn't realize how hard this guy works now every day.
Now.
He's got 17 or 18 horses.
Yeah.
Now, one time, his biggest thing was shining his shoes, right? Show up the race. But anyway, he really works hard. He trains 17 or 18 horses, 15 maybe he might have now, but every day he never misses.
Larry said was Social Security, of course, because you lived there all the time. Right?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said Larry Cox is one about Social Security, yes, because you lived there all the time. Right? Something you pay into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still get Social Security, from the States too, every month.
Yeah.
Yeah. I paid into it for 30 some years.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Larry, you want to talk more about your hood or what?
No, there's nothing else to say. But
What would we do without you? Like, none of us would be here, remember that.
I'm
Very
happy
fortunate to have you. I don't want you to work yourself too much. Then you won't be able to have the show.
No, look.
Then what are we going to do?
I get up. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning. I
Maybe
get
we
up
should
on
do the show at 5 o'clock.
This Sunday.
Maybe we got to do a morning show.
For the last 3 weeks, I've been putting together a task to do a 5-minute video, which we're going to do this Sunday. I rented the hall. I got a camera. I got the whole camera crew. I got everything. It's going to be the opening scene of either my movie or the TV show, whichever one we decide to do. And I have 2 major studios waiting to see this, and it's going to be the opening scene. When I came back to Florida and I owed the madman all that money, that's the scene that we're going to do. And it took me maybe 3-4 weeks to put everybody together. I was going to get all actors, but then the actors they said that they wanted a guarantee that if they did this little promotional thing, that they would, if the movie got picked up by Mark Wahlberg or Paramount or Sony or one of them, that they would play the part that I have to. I said, I can't guarantee it, because unless I make the movie myself, if Mark Wahlberg picks it up and he wants to play me or whoever he wants to play, that's up to them. They already paid me for the movie. So I couldn't. So what I did was I just got a bunch of street guys that I know, and I have them playing the part of the mob guy and his underling, and I got a guy to play me, and that's it. There's going to be 4 people in the whole thing. One won't speak. He's the only actor, the guy that's not going to speak. His name is Pete Gordio. He's in all the Soprano movies, and the reason I didn't even ask him. He heard I was doing it. He says, I want to do it. I want to do it for you, because years ago he asked me for a favor, and I did him a favor. And he says, I owe you one. I said, no. But when you see the video, you're going to see him. He plays a scary, scary guy.
Who did he play in The Sopranos?
I don't know who he played.
You watched it?
I never watched The Sopranos in my life. I swear to God.
Why?
Gandolfini screamed at me because when I used to go see him.
Maybe Vince and your buddy was in it.
Yeah, I know. They were all my friends were in it.
Yeah.
And I was with him that time. I think that thing was his father, right? So he made me come. I think I made shot at about a big car, which was right on 17th and Doll.
Right.
So I used to go there and have lunch with him all the time. And one day it was raining, so we had lunch at the bar.
And sounds like we were in a boat again.
Yeah, I know. I know that stops when Billy talks. So maybe it's something with Billy's in. I don't know.
Again?
Yeah, now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Oh.
Yeah. So now.
Sounds like you're in a boat.
Yeah, he shut his. Can you hear us, Billy? You're gonna shake your head. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We just okay. Yeah, it's Billy's mic. Okay, so they were ready to shoot a scene, and I was at the bar with Gandolfini, and I says, okay, I'm getting. No, sit right there. He says, I'll get you a day's pay. I said, I'm not an actor. I don't want a day's pay. I wouldn't be. I could have been in The Sopranos. I could have been in the Jake LaMotta story, the one that got Pesci going. I could have been in a lot of
Raging Bull.
Yeah, I could have been there.
Why didn't you do that then?
I was in. Let me tell you something.
What do you mean?
When Raging Bull came out,
Yeah.
Jake LaMotta married his second wife, who was also named Vicky. His first wife was Vicky. His second wife was Vicky. She was married to a good friend of mine, Jerry Hayde, who owned Rydale or some pacing horse. He was anyway.
Yeah.
They got a divorce. She winds up marrying Jake LaMotta. They had a kid called, I forgot the kid's name, but his last name was Hayde, and I got him his license. They come up here. They come up to Monticello, and it was the kid's first drive. So she comes up with Jake LaMotta, and I had my table, A7, right up against the glass. She comes down to my table, and she says she wants me to be in. She said Robert De Niro's staying with us in the Village. We're doing Jake's story, and we need all New York guys with New York accents. You know, just what Chaz Palminteri did in Bronx Tale did back then. They used all street guys. So they wanted me to get me, Ronnie, and Gracia. And I says, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing. Plus, I was fighting for my life in them years. I couldn't stay away one day. So I told him, I says, look, Pesci and Frankie Vincent and Pacquiao, all of them guys, they're all great entertainers, and they're all filming their act because Atlantic City's opening, and their agents are sending all their acts to Atlantic City so they can get jobs there. So that's how Pesci got the job. They went back and they looked at all the films and everything else, and they called a bunch of guys, and Pesci was one of them. And they all auditioned. They all got to work, but they made Pesci because Pesci was basically unique. And Pesci, that's him. I mean, that's not. I just had dinner with him a couple of years ago. He's the same way, in the diner, in a restaurant. That's how he is in real life. So he got that job, and then he went on to be a superstar. But I could have been in all them movies. And
you would have been the superstar, probably.
No, I'm not an actor.
You could have played yourself.
No.
Yes.
I can't even play. You should have saw the job. Should have said a job I had trying to find somebody, because don't forget this little film I'm doing on Sunday. It took place in 1972.
Right.
In 1972, I was 32 years old. So I had to find a kid that's 32 years old that don't have this bullshit new hairstyle where it's bald on the sides and a guy. Yeah. So you know who's playing me? Manny. You know Manny, the guy that's always on here? He's playing me. He begged me.
Is he an actor?
No, he's not. But he's only got one line. When the guy threatens to blow my head off, he says to me, he says, all right, today you're going to get a pass. He says, but you get a pass for showing up. The 360,000 you owe me, I'm going to turn that into a Shylock loan. 2 points a week. That's 7,200 a week. You miss one fucking week, and that'll be the last face you see. Now, when he points, that's the real actor. That's Peter.
Don't use that line. That's the last face you see, because that's a very famous line in The Sopranos where Patsy tells the woman that
won't use the line.
That's just the last face you'll see. You might have changed that.
So anyway, the only thing, so he tells me that in real life. So the only thing I can sit there, and the only thing he says, you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? So the only line that he has to say that I said was that I understand. That's it. Yeah. That's the only thing he has to say. How are you going to fuck up that? I understand. So that's the only line he has to say is I understand. And that's it. That's the end. Then the voiceover comes, and the voiceover says, this is the beginning of my life, and then I have a nice little voiceover that lasts about 30 seconds. And that's it. This is going to happen because this, like up until today, up until January 1st, I left it in somebody else's hands, and I fucked up with Sony Pictures. I didn't re-sign with them. The other guy wound up killing himself. The other guy, then the writer's strike, the union strike, and it was always now I'm taking full control. So that's one of the other things I'm working on. So I'm going to put, instead of having a little synopsis, a 3-4 page synopsis, I put together this team. We're filming the whole thing. I rented out a whole building. We just need a little corner where the bar is, but I didn't want nobody else in the building. So I rented the whole building. I have the whole crew coming on Sunday, and we're going to shoot. It's just going to be a 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
And we're going to shoot it, edit it, and then I'll start that. And Monday night, I'm having dinner with a bunch of Jewish guys that might fund the movie, so I can make it myself. And what
Manny set you up there, didn't he?
Who?
Manny?
No.
I thought that was his people.
Manny tried to set me up with his Jewish people, but that didn't work.
So how did you get the new bunch?
When I bought my gun, I bought a gun.
Oh.
And my cousin took me to his friends that own a big gun shop, that own many gun shops. So when I went in there, he says, "Look, bring a couple of books with you because I told them all about you." So they gave me $1,000 gun for like $400 or something, and I signed the books over to them. And they said, "Is this really true?" And this guy says, "Yeah, it's true." So they says, "Boy, we'd like to. I would always. There was so. So I says, listen, you know what I'm going to do? If I'm able to raise, I may raise the money to do this myself. Because for a couple of $1 million, my friend Kevin Interdonato, who makes movies, he could make it look like a $20 million movie for a couple of million. I says, if this thing don't work out with Wahlberg and this other company, I may raise the money myself. So I says, in fact, I may come to you to raise, to put up the money, like half kidding around, but half serious. They're very wealthy guys. They're Jewish.
Yeah.
So I'm having dinner with them this Monday night. And what I did was, there's a part in the book where, because the $360,000 that I owed Kabert, I also owed Barney Cutler. I owed two people the same amount. I was betting $20,000 a game with two different people. The Jewish guy, Barney Cutler, and Kabert. So when I ran out of money and I left for Florida, I left taking a shot. Jerry Silverman, he ran to California. I stayed around because Jerry owed as much as me. So I told them, I took a shot. I says to both guys, I says, listen, they didn't know I was broke, but me and Jerry lost over $1 million in the matter of months in the football season. So what happened was, I ran out of money, but I had excellent credit with them. We were betting $10,000 a game with each of these guys. So every weekend, me and Jerry were betting each $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 on just on a Sunday alone. So anyway, when I ran out of money, I was addicted. I was, when Saturday come, I was shaking. I had a bet, but I had excellent credit. So I went to them and I said, listen, I says, I'm going to Florida for a couple of weeks. I'm looking at some property down there. So you won't hear from me, knowing that they would say, don't worry about it. Call us up. We'll give you the line. Bet what I says, yeah, but I may not be back for a week or two, and if I lose, don't worry about when you come back. We'll straighten it out. Well, I left. The first week I lose, second week, by the end of the third week, I lose close to $800,000. So at that point, I had to run away, kill myself, or come back. So I came back. When I come back, that's the scene we're going to shoot on Sunday.
Yeah.
So when I came back, that's only half of what I owed. It was $360,000 to Gebert, and he made it a Shylock loan for 2 points. So 2 points. I had to come up with $7,200 a week in vig just for him. Now I had to go make the same deal with Barney Cutler, the Jewish guy. So I made the same. So I had to come up with almost $15,000 every week in just vig. So
where'd you get the $50,000 a week?
Huh?
Where'd you get the $50 a week?
15.
50, you said.
No, 15. I said
15.
7,200 vig for each of them. 15,000.
Yeah.
7 to 14, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what I did was, it's in the book. How did I get it? The whole Belmont Park, all them. Didn't you read the book? You had to read the book. That all of them major races, all them jockeys, Cordero. It's all, look, whatever I'm saying now was in all the newspapers. That's why I put it in the book, because it's all out in the open. They were getting 5,000. The favorites to first, second choice got 5,000. Third and fourth choice got 2,500. And I was doing 2 races a day, invest 40, 50,000. All I wanted to do was double the money, and I was making plenty of money. It lasted for maybe three years. It's all in the book. It was all in the newspapers. So anyway, so what I did.
When do we get to see the short movie? Next week?
Well, we're going to shoot it, and then he's got to edit it.
Yeah.
So when I'll play it on here.
Yeah.
So what I did was in the book, I talk about the Jewish guy, and they're Jewish. They're these with the beanies and everything.
Yeah.
So the Jewish guys, I told them, I says, look, I'll write a scene in. So in the book here, on what page it was, I forgot what page it was, I talk about Barney Cutler, that I had to make the same deal with him. So I wrote a part in for these 2 Jewish guys, which I'm going to bring with me.
Right.
And the part is that these 2 Jewish guys, they come knocking on my door one day, and because I was late with the payment, but I was really never late. But they come knocking on my door, and I answered the door, and they says, this is where they have Jewish. I forgot their names already. Barney sent us just to say hello. And I says, tell Barney I'll be up there tomorrow. And I wrote a part in there for them, and they were thrilled.
Yeah.
Now they own about 5 or 6 major gun shops, plus they're partners with the President Trump's wife's son. No, President Trump's daughter's husband, that wealthy Jewish guy kid. His father owns a bunch of property on the Jersey Shore. Well, they're partners with him. They're very, very wealthy. So all I'm going to ask for is maybe 3-4 million.
Nothing.
I'll make a couple of million. I'll make the movie with the rest of the money. I'll pay off my house.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll take a trip to Vegas or something. And that'll be that. So we'll see. So that's what I do with my time. I rewrite things and I put together. I can't wait for Sunday to see how this guy. Now the guy that I got to play Cabert is the guy who was on my podcast in the beginning. That guy Jimmy. Jimmy just got out of jail after 10 years. His father Juicy, who raised Cabert, just got out of jail after 45 years. So that was like one family. So he knows Cabert's mannerisms and everything else. And he is a mobster. I mean, he controlled all the unions here. And so I called him up. I said, Jimmy, I need a favor. I need somebody. I told him what I was doing. So he come over here the other day and he played the part. I says, just play the part like Cabert. I owe him $300,000. What would he say? How would he do it? And here's what the script I wrote. He was perfect. You're going to see it. I'm going to film. So he was perfect. And the only other person that has any say is his underboss, little Sammy, who come and pick me up at the airport when I come back. And Sammy says to me, when I come back from Florida, he says to me, all right, the boss is waiting for you. Bobby's waiting for you. He says, you want to go home and get whatever you got to give him? And I says, I'm broke. And he says, you broke? He says, yeah. He says, oh my God. He said, you're going to have a major fucking problem. So he calls him up. He says, Bobby says, bring him down here tomorrow morning. And that's the scene I'm shooting when I arrive there. But all Sammy has to say is that when Cabert says to me, Darian, we never had a fucking problem. He says, you could have come to me with anything. We could have worked it out. Instead, you made a scumbag move. You left town and you took a shot at me, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now you owe me $360,000 that you don't have. There ain't one motherfucker in this town that took a shot at me that's alive today. Now you tell me why I shouldn't blow your fucking head off and throw you in the fucking ocean. And this is the part Manny has to say, well, because I could pay.
Yeah.
You're right. I took a shot at you, but I could pay. Now, the only part Sammy has to say is that when I say because I could pay, Bert looks at me like in real life. He just fucking stared at me like I was nuts. And then he looks at Sammy and he says, he starts laughing. He says, you hear what this fucking kid said? He says, so then he looks back at me. He says, you could pay? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. You owe me $360. You're going to get a fucking pass now just for showing up. But the $360, I'm going to make it a Shylock loan. 2 points every fucking week, $7,200 a week. You miss one fucking week, that'll be the last face you see. But now we got to change that line because you said it was the line of the Sopranos.
I got another thing to ask you. What's the name of the movie?
Whoever buys it is going to rename it. I named
it can't be Against All Odds because there was a movie Against All Odds with Richard Gere and Phil Collins sang the theme song.
Yeah, but that's the name of the fucking book. You know how many?
I get that. I know that.
You know what? Look. If they buy it and give me a couple of $1 million, I wouldn't give a fuck if Mickey Mouse played me. I don't care. I don't care. Just give me the money. So, but if I make it myself, and there's a reason why I can't use the name Against All Odds, I'll use another name. I don't care. But let me tell you something. Every chapter in that book is 10% of the real story. And every chapter in that book can go on forever. And there's a lot. The good chapters I left out. The good chapters have things in there that I can't talk. I could talk about them. I'm saying too much now, but I could turn it like half fiction. Like even though it's real, I could turn it half fiction. But there's things I couldn't put in there, but I could put it in the movie or the series because you say, look. That's fiction. I made it up, when in reality it's the truth. But I couldn't put because this is whatever is in here is true. This is all the truth, and a lot of it is left out. And then they even got mad at me because they wanted stories about girls and they wanted a funny story. They says you got to put some funny stuff in there. I says, what made you think anything in my fucking life was funny? I'm fighting for my life every single day. And so that's when I got a hold of Jerry Silverman. And I says, Jerry, and I told him the whole story. I says, you mind if I tell him that story about Habib? And he says, what do I give a fuck? I says, well, you're going into the Hall of Fame in another 3 months. I don't want to fuck that up for you. Why do I give a fuck? I don't care. And I put the story in. That story when he asked Habib for $100,000 and he bought 2 horses from Australia. So, oh God. So that story's in the book. But I got his permission to do it. So anyway, that's it. I look.
No, you know what? And that's it for tonight. 10 o'clock, 2 hours. We're finished. Thanks everybody for coming along.
I'm gonna wait. Let me just wait, one question. I don't know if you named to Bill. Yeah, it's for Billy. Russell Cox, Kelly Goudreau, Pro.
What's that? You're breaking up a little.
Larry Cox asked you a question. He said, Russell Cox. He trained for Kelly Goudreau and Pro. No. Okay. All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Larry.
Good luck. Good luck, Larry, next week with your.
Get a hold of Ronnie. Tell him that we appreciate him coming on, but ask him how he made out with the lion.
We will.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, folks. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. All right, for you guys that are still on here, let me just say, there's a lot of questions I should ask. Driver eligible for okay. I'm gonna end it. I'm tired. I talk too much tonight anyway. Thanks for for tuning in. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you Tuesday.